It's a show which we hope brings into play some kind of complex, perhaps even challenging questions about what art is or might be and what art isn't. And it does so in a very kind of visually enticing way. British folk art is a very loaded term. When we examine any of the objects which have been classed as folk art, work which we assume is very modest and rather parochial is actually modern, has a global aspect, or is highly skilled. The show ranges from things like these oversized objects, which once served as trade signs, through to the most exquisite, delicate, complex embroideries and quilts, like this object. It's a quilt created by a couple during their engagement in the year or so before their marriage. It incorporates motifs which appear throughout the exhibition, animals through to figures, through to decorative items, but it also incorporates a character from the popular comics and magazines of the day, Ali Sloper. He's the red-nosed figure, really the first cartoon character to have a life in the mass media. At first glance, it might seem to be homely and domestic and inward-looking, but once you start looking at them a bit more closely, you find that actually it's about an engagement with the modern world as well. It kind of serves really as an emblem of the exhibition as a whole. Well, this is one of the most extraordinary objects in the whole exhibition, an incredibly detailed and delicate model created out of bones by a French prisoner of war in the Norman Cross camp near Peterborough, which is one of the first modern prisoner of war camps during the Napoleonic Wars. You could access bones from the camp kitchen. It was probably made using sharpened nails, sharpened bits of glass, and so it's all the more extraordinary for it. In ships, figureheads are often thought of as being a kind of exemplary kind of folk art. They're bright, they're colourful, and often a bit eccentric. And this figure has all those qualities. It's not the most refined bit of carving in the world, but it is kind of powerful. And what's intriguing here, though, is that although it was created for a British ship, it's actually Indian craftsmanship, made out of Indian hardwood in the Bombay dockyard in Mumbai. And it reflects not a parochial story about Britain, but actually the story about Britain as an empire and Britain as a global power in the 19th century. There isn't a single definition of folk art, and this exhibition reflects that. The sheer variety of techniques and contexts, aesthetic values that are encompassed by the term. This is the first major exhibition at a National Museum of British folk art. We hope it's not the last one. We hope that it's really opening up big questions about folk art. There are objects and there are stories behind those objects which challenge and expand our idea of what British folk art might be.